you might be wondering what on earth we're doing in the pool right now. This thing is mostly empty. Keep that in mind. I've been draining it for a good week and giving it a good clean. It's going. But the other thing that I've been doing is taking a week off of YouTube, creating. And I find myself talking to a lot of kids, mostly I suppose, about consuming versus creating. And whether you're just doing art or whatever, some kind of creation process compared to just consuming. It's gotta be a good balance. When I'm creating, I'm not consuming much because I'm very busy creating. And even though I am still trying to absorb new information and whatnot. But this week has been spent consuming. So studying, hours and hours. And I found that this pool is actually a fantastic metaphor for what information there is out there compared to what I actually have. And if this pool were, say, the amount of information that I could bring in that's out there, then this water might be a pretty good representation on what on earth I actually know. And it's a little bit of a humbling experience, but it's also a very empowering experience because you bring in tons more information that you get to chew on and think about it and play with. So that's why we're in the pool. Let's go check out some horses. I left the chair in there. There's Zeus. What's going on there, big guy? Keeping an eye out on things for us? Let's do a little horsey check while I answer a question I got just today, actually, by pure chance, and it sort of instigated that I should come out of my week-long hiatus and get back to posting some videos. So this is going to be one of many coming very soon. We'll say hi. Hello, Luke. What's going on there? Neat little horsey horse. I don't know. He's so I really like his features. He's always been when he was younger he was more, I don't know, he's still pretty young, but he was such a pretty horse. He was always deemed as a pretty horse. Some people thought he was a mare or a filly because he's 3 or so, right? And so he's still got this little bit of a, you know, very gentle, sort of nicely featured. Anyhow, the question was how to run, or what are the things to know when it comes to running a boarding facility or managing horses, understanding the care of horses and how to assess horses. It's a big one. It's a lot to think about. And so when I go on, it led to the thought process when I go on Horsey Check, where, I mean, obviously we're chit-chatting quite a bit and discussing all kinds of things, but I'm really looking over each one of these horses to see if they are acting normally, having any problems, if they've broken anything, do they have food, water, all those kinds of things. And while I don't think that I could do a video, like one video where I could say, well, this is how I assess a horse, I would say more, I could probably generalize it into seeing things that I don't think are good. And how does that work, you might say? You might think, well, what do you mean by not good? Well, sometimes horses will look like they're sad or unhappy. They won't be eating. That'll be the first good indicator that something's up. And you know, they won't They nibble away. They got hay here, so that's good. The obvious stuff, you know, wounds and things that we'd look at are, I think, self-explanatory. I don't believe I need to go there. So it's more of the subtle stuff, the stuff that we look at with our horses and we see them and we think, something's not quite right. And that comes with time. That's why I don't really think that I could do something in one whole video, but I could definitely give more of an impression of the things that I'm thinking about. So when I walk up and I come on up to Luke here, and he's eating right now, but he lifts his head, he looks over, he's checking in. Can I give him a fist bump? Yes, I can. Can I pet him on the head? Yes, I can. Is he spooky or weird? Is he paying attention to things that, you know, are not a problem? Stuff like that alerts me to something mental or emotional, more than physical. And physical is definitely going to come from observation over time. And look at that brave dog. He says, if I could just get a quick morsel. Come on, Zeus, get out of there. Physical stuff can come over time, other than the incredibly obvious head bobbing or open wounds and stuff like that. Head bobbing meaning there's probably a leg or a hoof problem and they can't walk properly. So here comes Lena, right? We come down a little bit and I look at Lena and she says, hi, how you doing? Her ears are forward, her eyes are quite relaxed, her mouth is, you know, it moves around and all kinds of loveliness. She's sniffing, she's curious, she's very social. If I were to meet a horse for the first time and need to sort of assess a little bit, I'd be wondering, are they kind? Are they nice? Are they wanting something from me that isn't hopefully an apple or a carrot, but maybe just a little bit of attention and some scratches? Because it's quite a hard bye-bye. It's not an easy thing to assess, but if I were to give you an idea of what I think about when I'm out and about and how I'm assessing horse health, physical, mental, and emotional, it's going to be a little bit from instinct and what I think is right. So recently, I mean a few weeks ago or so, I met a brand new horse. Lady's wondering about, you know, what she should do, and the horse was, whoa, goldfish are, how close can we get? Probably not too close. Oh, there they go. They're moving. That's neat. Anyhow, she's wondering what can she do. Her horse is a little bit quite worried, was not very, and I said, you know, the thing that throws me off about the horse, and it could have physical problems, it could have, you know, mental, emotional problems. Hi, how's it going there, little Arabian? And that kind of, the kind of stuff can kind of stack up too. You might have something that's going wrong physically somewhere else. There could be an environment problem. They might be hungry. All kinds of things can lead to whatever. So we have to wonder about that stacking of problems. Gracie's a great example of that. You know, when she first came, she had skin issues, she had foot issues, she had all kinds of behavioral things going on, and in a brand new environment and everything, and it was all stacked up to where things were weird. It wasn't like what I consider the bar, which is Luke. And it might be, actually, she might be a new bar one day, right? She might be the horse that I look at and think, geez, if everybody could be like you, that'd be cool. And so it may not be exactly what they are doing, but maybe what they aren't doing. And it's nice when you have a little bit of draw with a horse. They just kind of come along. And what do you want? Where do you need your scratches? Says, yep, you've got it, buddy. That's the spot. Scratch harder. I'm really scratching. Ooh, are you shedding a little bit? She says, yep, a little bit. I don't really want to scratch you for this whole session. Huh. So that's a lot. Big shake. Throw the head. I'm leaving now. Hopefully she doesn't. Don't get too frustrated. Bye-bye. Says I hate you forever. Say hi to Roo. Right, come up. He says hello. He's got lots of food here. He's a happy monkey. Hi, buddy. Yeah, you and your big fuzzy ears. He's sniffing. He's checking things out. You know. Looks kind of dirty. He's probably had a roll. That kind of thing. All looks normal to me. How's his water? It's pretty good. He's got food. He's following me around. We're gonna go see the dog together maybe. Is he gonna come? Maybe not. But things like that I look at, if he wasn't curious, if he didn't come up, I would wonder. I'd be like, hey man, you okay? What's wrong? And that definitely comes from some familiarity of the horse himself, where I look at him and I think, I know how you're supposed to react. So that's sort of a bit of an assessment. Like if you're running a place, you will become used to the behaviors of the horses. Wouldn't worry too much about that. Over time, you'll understand what's normal, what's not normal. Like Ruli, for example. Ruli is a complete mess. Good job, Ruli. Nice big roll for you, I guess. All right, Ruli has some freedom now, as I said in the last video. And that's another thing that kind of comes from boarding, or I believe comes from boarding. Having a boarding facility is the ability to be a little bit malleable, have some variability in your boarding facility and your boarding ideas. One of the biggest changes that's happening to boarding facilities all around is feeding. There's plenty of science going around more and more about how to feed horses, and more people are moving to a hay bag, you know, a constant hay supply. What are those two doing? Situation. Because it's good for the horse, it's good for their stomach, which is, again, comes to that stacking thing. They've got some problem here, there, and another, and you're going to have something else. Being able to assess that for sure sometimes requires the efforts of a veterinarian, some specialists in the area. Roni, what are you doing, buddy? Do you want to come say hello, or we got to go to you? It's just eating. See, now that, because he's not really interested in coming over, I think in my head, well, maybe I should go say hello to you. Not always, but sometimes when I've called out, I say, hey, you should come over. He doesn't. There, that's kind of nice. We could have a little fist bump. Bump. What are we looking at? Bump. This is Roni's pattern. You could scratch him maybe. He's not big on scratching. And that'll be another thing that I would assess as well. I would look at a horse and it's like playing poker. So I shall give you no clues. Oh, maybe a little one. Fist bump. So assessing all of them, understanding what they do. As for running a boarding facility, as I started to say, it's important to have flexibility and variability in your thoughts and the way you do things, which leads me back to the beginning of this conversation about learning. And I can say in the beginning, you're never going to get things quite right, and that'd be okay. That'd be all right. No big deal. Obviously, you want to set up as best as you can. But I'd say look around an awful lot. Try to visit places, see what you like. Every time I go to a new place, I look around and I think, oh, I kind of like that, or I don't like that, or I've already decided I don't like that, or I really like that idea, but I can't do it. It's expensive, or the land doesn't fit the idea. And you just file all these things away. If you have to write them down, write them down. The financial part of it, there are going to be some constants and obviously some variables, like medical things or repairs, but things that you're going to build: an arena, paddocks, shelters, maybe a barn, hayloft, wash station, I don't know, all kinds of things like that, tack rooms. They're going to be constants. You're going to pretty much know that. So I don't think that that part's very hard. I don't think running a boarding facility is actually very difficult overall, except for what you've already kind of hinted at, is that understanding the horse, assessing the horses, and understanding what they need and what looks good and what doesn't. And it just takes time. You know, I'm not saying go ahead and dive into it willy-nilly, but well, you know, we'll come back to you, give some scratches. But there is something to be said for kind of diving in and start small, get bigger. And you're right in that it'll probably be something that you really love. It might be that is the, I don't know about an escape, but leaving the corporate world and getting into a more simple yet, I don't say convoluted, but definitely not as simple as it may seem, lifestyle, but very fulfilling. Here she comes. She's thinking. Here she comes. Back right, back left. It's fun, it's enjoyable. And so my final little bit, without getting into any more, I did a video on buying horses too, something to watch. Maybe I'll link that. But it can be a lot of fun. It can be very fulfilling, and horses are incredibly peaceful. To get out of the corporate world can be very healthy, although it is a lot of work, so keep that in mind. Okay, that's it for today. That's my advice for that question. I'll link this video in my response to you. So thanks for asking. It's a good one. I get that once in a while. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you being here. And I'd say, you know, see you in the next one. Go have fun with your horse if you got one. If not, hopefully you've enjoyed mine. I'll see you then.